I think so, Andrew. Fire away.
All right, let's do it. Do, do, do. All right, let's do this. Right. Well, I'm going to start off with a win. Chip, it was awesome seeing you. It was and Tina and Enrique, Dave, Mike. Who else did I
Corey.
see? Corey. It's great seeing you all.
Amen.
Um, yeah, and I think I got to see Sujit from afar in your workshop, Ben.
Yeah,
Oh,
we got to talk to him too. We're like, who is that?
It was
did you?
packed. Congrats.
So you did Ben's workshop. Ben, you did that with Amanda, right? Or
Hmm.
do I have the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
one?
We saw Shajit and at the with Amanda. I don't know if he was in the SaaS Alerts workshop because that thing was so full. I can keep track of everybody that was coming in there. That's why I
I
invited Tim to join us today
I
too.
think that SaaS Alerts one was the same time Leron's was, right?
Could have been. Yeah.
I think
Because
so.
Leron's
Yeah.
was with Jim Freely on KSIM and KMDR.
Yeah. I think I ended up there. It was nice to see Ben and Amanda.
Well, good, good.
So I told Amanda at the beginning when it was just she and I and Ben that she's no longer allowed to be anonymous on this call. And she pushed back and said, "Nope, I'm protecting my anonymity." But I said she's a star. So, what's the vote of the patrons here?
I
I
like
mean,
seeing her face. I like seeing everybody's
I
face.
was gonna say, what,
Amanda, I want to see
what,
you.
Amanda, what
Yeah.
anonymity? You were out in front of everybody last week.
I'm eating my lunch this week, so I'm off camera.
Did you bring it?
Oh,
So
Ah, yeah,
Amanda, if you're in front of hundreds of people, your anonymity is lost. That's no longer a valid argument.
yeah.
You didn't see me, Andy.
I,
oh,
I have a more question. Did you bring enough lunch for everybody, Amanda? That's I think the bigger question here. Um,
No, unfortunately, no.
okay. Chip, any wins out there from the group? Let's hear. So Andy, win is you're back. Sorry again to hear about your loss, but glad you're with us. Um, and any wins out there for the
yeah.
for
Let's start with partner wins of the week. I saw Sajit come off mute. He's one of the usual suspects. What do you got for us, Sajit?
Well, mine's kind of sappy, but Connect 26 was a win for me. It was just nice to finally see everybody. So I always appreciate everyone on this call, all the conversations that come from here. But it was really nice to see, not to single out Ben and Amanda, but it was really nice to see them actually, because they're so insanely smart, and to see Ben and Amanda lead that call, like that was really great. So it was nice for me to also bring our ownership, our VP was with us to, really kind of see what we were getting, the full value out of our relationship with Kaseya. So it was really awesome to see everyone. All the product councils were really, really, really amazing. If anyone is on any of them, like I was on with one with Modulika and Liron, and then there's the Inky team, and just the insights into everything. The transparency at Kaseya is miles beyond what anyone else is doing. So it's just really nice to see all that stuff reinforced at Connect.
I
Thanks for that, Sajit. That's
yeah.
that's good stuff. How'd your VP feel about it?
No, he was happy as the pig in shit. He was kind of the one that brought us into the whole Kaseya thing. He was like, guys, we're going all in. And we're like, what? And at first I thought he was kind of crazy because, the whole don't put all your eggs in one basket. But once you saw long term what Rania and obviously all this technical teams and kind of the vision of where everything was going, it made sense while we were putting our eggs in this basket. So I think the only thing that kind of surprised him, he was calling me panicking. He was like, Rocket Cyber is going away. I was like, no, no, no. I was like, it's Kaseya MDR. I'll talk to you later. And he's like, oh God. So it's
Hmm.
just funny to see that now I knew more Kaseya stuff than him and our Kaseya account manager. He was like, Rocket Cyber is going away. I was like, no, no. I was like, I'll fill you in later too.
Wow.
It was kind of funny.
So you're getting your value out of these weekly calls. You got all the advanced scoop.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was rubbing it in both their faces. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good.
Anybody else? Partner wins? Was everybody at Kaseya last week? So we weren't really
Yes,
paying
I
attention
was
to our
going to say
businesses.
if we were totally out of pocket for a week and a half between Connect and True Peer quarterly meetings and didn't have anybody calling with issues, is that a win?
That's a huge win.
Huge winner. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the team handled anything that came in. Obviously, the tools help streamline a lot of that. And I didn't hear a single customer call me and say, nobody's getting back to me. Something's wrong. Blah, blah, blah. Like I just heard nothing for a week and a half, which I thought was pretty tremendous.
Means you're doing a great job with the team too.
Team's doing a great job and the
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a
That's
new
awesome.
customer, so that's a win.
What's that?
We got a new customer, so that's a win.
Nice. Tell us.
70 user out of Mexico City. They're an organization that had been down for a couple of days without email and servers and stuff, and they just called me. I'm at NerdioCon right now in California, heading back. And during the conference, they called me, so it took about 6 hours of the conference to onboard them and get them going. But I'm surprised with IT people that they could be down for days and they still don't have an urgency. They're like, yeah, why don't we set up a tenant and let's test? You're down, you have no email, no servers, and you want to get testing. I think you're past that phase. So yeah, it was a good win.
What took them down?
Their vendor, they have a data center in Mexico City, and their vendor has not said what, but I'm almost sure it had to have been some type of attack because it's not only them, it was a whole bunch of customers. And they haven't been able to recoup. They just get told they're working on it and working on it and working on it. So, but some things are very basic, just like got their domain on Cloudflare, configured the DNS, and we got a whole bunch of their backup servers up and running with the correct domain, not the backup domain. So it's kind of one of those things that bad planning, no backup and disaster recovery plan in place. So that's what happens.
So I'm assuming that's part of the new engagement, Enrique, is some business continuity planning and taking
Yes,
them through all that.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, to begin with, they're on IMAP. Can you believe they're on IMAP? On an
They're on
IMAP
what?
server. They were on an IMAP email server.
Oh, an IMAP email server. I thought you were saying nine, but like running Linux?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
So
they were running that locally?
they were running that. Yes, and well, not on premise, on a hosted server with that cloud provider in Mexico City. But so getting them into Microsoft has been a shock.
A positive shock.
Well, no, I think a negative shock for the IT guys because they don't even know what's what.
Wow.
In 2026, and we see that.
Okay, so you had the opposite Connect experience from Brian. You spent the whole time configuring a new customer.
Yes.
Exactly.
But that's not a bad thing. New revenue, new customer, that's good.
Well, I always take it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. What else we got, Chip?
Well, look, my win is being back from Connect, and it's Thursday, and I'm almost done catching up from being away last week. So that's a win. Um, Look, it was a really good conference. We had a lot of great feedback from partners. And some, I wouldn't say pushback, but some, hey, here's where you need to be better. So you always want a conference to have both of those things. You want some honesty from folks and letting them know what's next, what we should be focusing on. So it was it was the best conference I've had as a Kasayan. That's probably my fifth or sixth Connect conference. Most of the other times I was there as a vendor. And it was, this was a really good one. The last conference I did, I had a whole lot of responsibility doing a keynote. I didn't have that this time, so I was really able to focus more on the customer stuff. So I enjoyed that a lot. It was good.
Good. I put down a few of the announcements, Chip. Any of these relevant to talk about, or are they old news for this group, do you feel? I mean, I know we've talked about Case SIM quite a bit. but these were the two things that I pulled out of some of the, industry rags about big announcements that came from the event.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd open that one to the team, to to our customers and partners on the call. We have the right people on this call to talk about it, that's for sure. So if you want to dive into either KSIM or what's going on between Inky and SASN alerts, what we're pulling across, now's the time to ask.
Yeah. Anybody interested in that? Curious questions? What weren't at Connect? Want to know
I'm
more?
interested. Obviously, I wasn't there. I'm going to be sitting in on a call this afternoon to hear more, but I'd love to. I don't know what else. So Inky and SaaS Alerts, how are they integrating?
Amanda, you're our event queen.
Yeah. We have currently 4 events that we are monitoring with Inky. So the use case, Andy, that we're using to explain this, it's outbound messaging to start. And so if Inky detects something as a phishing email, they will then tell us that it's a phishing email is being sent from that user's account. Inky on their side will shut down the emails from being sent. And then on our side, you can then include that event and respond rule and further continue to lock them out of their Microsoft instance if you want, or
Are you
Google.
doing anything with data exfiltration yet with email?
So we haven't had a tremendous amount of events to sample yet, which is why we're starting with just this initial 4 pack. And as people start to use it, I will be taking that feedback, and Ben and I and some others have been looking at the data anyway. So where we see things, we will continue to add to it.
Thank you.
Andy, that's a very insightful question. Looking at email exfiltration through the lens of email sends is something that we've wanted to do. SaaS Alerts has wanted to do independently from Inky for a long, long time, like even way before Amanda or Ben were even here. And we actually built it, and we discovered it blew up our data pipeline so much that it crushed our cogs, and we had to wait for something else to come along. It was one of the original roadmap items before we even started laying down code. We wanted to watch emails for excessive outbounds with attachments and then report on the sender, the recipient list, and the attachment name, not scanning any content.
I'm also thinking about just target generic Gmail accounts or generic Outlook accounts, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, but from the DLP side, we were particularly looking at,
Yep,
Andy
totally.
Rowe just sent the financial statements to 500 people.
Right.
But we just couldn't do it and maintain the cogs to provide SaaS Alerts as a standalone product. When we bought
I'm going to
Inky,
see images is going to be a bigger and bigger issue for DLP going forward.
yep, yep, screenshots,
Hmm.
100%. So,
Yeah, so there's a burst event, there's a spam event, and a phishing event, and I can't think of the fourth, sorry, off the top of my head. But those are to start, and we will cultivate through the data and see what else we can add.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Andy, on fire. Back one day. Good for you. Other questions about these announcements or any other announcements you may have heard while we have folks around?
My
I want to
one question around oh, sorry, Enrique, go ahead.
well, I just want to congratulate the whole Kaseya SaaS Alerts team for what they're doing, what they showcased last week. Some amazing stuff coming down the pipeline. So keep up the great innovation.
David,
thanks, Enrique.
Chip or Amanda, David made a comment about Inky Pro was only needed for outbound items and not incoming.
I'm not an authority on the Inky
Correct.
licensing, so very hard for me to answer. I think Sujit entered it. I think he said you do need the pro license for the SIM feed. And I
Yep.
want to say I have seen that in the UI on Inky that like if you get to the integrations tab and the SIM feed's not available, it'll be due to licensing, I believe.
Good stuff.
I'll be the negative Nelly for a minute. So I talked to Michelle at Connect about SIM, and I still can't see what the point of it is, to be honest with you, other than you get a 400-day firewall log retention. Um, but if you have SaaS alerts and you have Kaseya MDR, other than getting a single pane of glass, I don't see what the point of SIM is, to be honest, in its current state.
Interesting comment. So I'll take a
Anything?
shot at this first, but then I want Ben to chime in because Ben is directly involved in managing that whole new sector of the services offering in our security suite. I think the big difference between SIM and MDR and SIM is a standalone and MDR and SaaS alerts together is SIM is backed by a 24/365 human SOC that's responding, and we also massively upskilled the AI engine that runs behind all of it. So SIM has a brand new AI interface that's speeding up. I'm going to say 5x. Ben might tell me it's 10x. The ability for analysts to correlate events across the SIM, and it's a completely managed SIM. Unlike other SIMs in the marketplace, it's also priced in an MSP friendly way. So there's no ingress fees. There's no data sending fees. There's no data storage fees. There's none of the things that make up most other SIM products that make it very difficult for MSPs to sell it because it's a variable cost. You don't know how you're going to charge for it if you have different costs every month per customer. So it's a flat fee that you can then bundle into your services in a very predictable way. So I think it's a pretty significant shift in how the middle market can think about a fully monitored SIM solution.
But
Yeah.
those of us that have Rocket Cyber, which will become MDR, have the SOC for that already, or are we not going to continue to have that same SOC?
No, you will. You just won't have the new AI engine behind it. That only lives in SIM.
May, may
And Ben,
I?
feel free to chime in.
I was going to say one key note here, Brian, is that when dealing with post attack reviews, you have to have a log, and that's one of the things the SIM does. Is more than just a firewall. It gives you feed from many devices and many metrics or telemetries. So that's the
Yeah,
other
no,
part of
I,
it.
I agree with that. But they right now, those aside from like Rocket Cyber's feed for firewalls is basically non-existent. It's worthless. But so you do get like a better enhanced one with that with SIM. But today, it's still the same logging events in SaaS alerts and Rocket Cyber slash MDR separately, right? Like you're not getting new events with SIM, are you? Like what new events would you get that you're not getting individually in those two systems today?
So, Brian, a couple of thoughts. One is SaaS Alerts today is not a managed um, product. So the activity that takes place there is kind of on you
Right.
to get sorted out. The second piece of this is the generic webhook collector and the future generic data collectors that we plan to build. We plan to make those limited to the SIM. So if that the ability to send data from third-party sources that we don't have native integrations for is important to you, that's another benefit of the SIM. And then the third point is our focus was and is to deliver this product, and we haven't had the time to really build unique SIM standalone features as an additional benefit of having the SIM, the Microsoft agent, which we had very good responses to at Connect. The early access for that is only going to be available to the SIM customers. And then once that is GA, it will be available to the SaaS Alerts customers. And then the second thing I hear when I say that is, well, what's the Microsoft agent going to cost? And the answer for that is the reason that we're doing a beta is because these technologies are so new that we need to understand what usage looks like, and that usage is going to drive cost. So once we have that sorted out in, call it 60 plus days, we will have some sort of price structure on top of the Microsoft agent, and it's going to be an opt-in or opt-out. You're not going to get a surprise on your bill.
Yeah, I definitely think you guys are going to need to get some partner cheerleaders for SIM, because I can tell you, just talking with people at Connect and in the peer group meetings last week or earlier this week, the general sentiment is similar to what I was just stating. So I think people are going to need to see it before they probably jump into it. Like one of the guys in our peer group, Andy, Christian, he's had it since Connect last year, when he got like the dollar per user, price at Connect last year. And he's even said, he's like, in its current state, it really doesn't do anything for me. So, I think you guys are going to have to get this out and get some partners that, are really seeing the value, and then kind of be the partner cheerleader a bit, because that's just general sentiment from what I'm hearing right now.
I think that's fair feedback, Brian. I mean, I heard that directly at Connect more than once, so I don't think there's anything, unreasonable or even, what did you say? You're going to be Debbie Downer at the beginning? I don't see it that way. It's good feedback. I think a lot of us heard it directly. We see the differences, but we need to do a better job of explaining what those are and what the relevance is.
And then Leron, Corey had a comment about, did I hear that correctly? Webhook functionality is going to be locked down in the future.
It's locked down. Well, when we release it, due to the technical nature of making that entire thing work, it's basically something that we have to enable on a partner by partner basis. So when we have customers ask us for Microsoft Event Hub, we enable it for them on a per partner basis. The inbound webhook collector for the inbound data coming in, it will be treated in a similar fashion. And then Ben just did a really nice job of responding to Corey that the outbound webhook, Corey, that you're probably using to send data out, that's not going to change.
Good, Corey?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Hey guys, I want to jump into and just make sure I understood some stuff that came out of Connect regarding the new SIM, because I think it seems like everybody I talk to has questions about it. Obviously, it's a new product. I guess everybody's got questions about it. And I talked to Tim there during a SaaS Alerts presentation at Kaseya, but this was the day of the announcement or the day before, and there wasn't a whole lot of details kind of being leaked out. We're in the middle of doing the deal to move a bunch of our stack over to Kaseya. So we're coming from a Huntress environment, along with SentinelOne, and all those being kind of fully managed. And that was the one thing I thought I understood coming out of the conference, was that effectively the new Kaseya SIM added that fully managed SOC capability to SaaS Alerts, because and pretty much licensed with your 365, with the with the user section of your licensing, not the endpoint. So I thought I understood that, and I've heard some things since then that made me kind of second guess that. And then I think as a couple people noted, there's probably just a lot of information that's got to get out about it. But I think one area we're still unclear about, and it may just be because we're not that familiar with the products yet. If I have the Kaseya EDR and I have Kaseya MDR, how are those events coming into the SOC? Is that the same SOC as what the SIM is? Is it the same AI engine running against those alerts? Is it the SIM taking over? Is it more of a consolidated view, or is it really kind of separate SOC? Because we're kind of going under the assumption that funneling EDR to the same SOC that's handling 365 alerts, that's also handling, Inky going in the same spot, will give us kind of 3 telemetries all coming into the same SOC, maybe a little better visibility.
So
Leron?
Yeah, the data that's coming in, all the data that's going into Kaseya SIM, the SOC is going to be doing what the Rocket Cyber SOC does today and what the Kaseya MDR SOC does today. So the SOC is a fully managed service that is going to be managed by Ben and his team and some other individuals as well. So I think that your initial understanding is the correct one. And it is priced per user.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay. Let's move on. Let me back to this here.
Hey, Andrew. I want to take some time to pull Tim up here and get him to kind of talk about some of the. We had a really good turnout with the workshop, but we have several webinars coming up for those that couldn't attend. And I didn't know if Tim, if you wanted to mention anything or drop some links in the chat.
Would you think I was going to not forget? Look what's
Oh
on
man, you are so good.
on cue, Ben. All right, I'll give it to Tim.
I didn't want to like steal Amanda's thunder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The class went really well. Out of I think 200 registered, we actually had 160 show up, so it was a jam-packed class out of a lot of participation. I think we fielded like anywhere from 100 to 150 questions. Like it was very, very, very interactive. A lot of participation from the class, which is awesome. I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing through webinars the month of May. I'm gonna throw it in chat here. Feel free to use that link to register for all three of those. Um, uh, the biggest like kind of comment that I got besides how the class being really good was the fact that it was just a lot of information, and it was hard to kind of keep up and follow along as we were moving from topic to topic. So you got the information overload in Vegas. If you were there, this will be almost the same information. So now it won't be information overload. So hopefully you'll be able to take even more and absorb even more information. But definitely please come join the webinars and get everything you can out of it. All three are listed there and what we're covering in each one. So if only one interests you, that's perfectly fine. But look forward to seeing you guys in webinars. And then I'll
Tim
be
is the out.
teaching the class in Prague as well.
Tim is the out. Oh, very cool. Prague. Are you inviting anybody? Is any of the outcome a certification? Just as you know, what do they use? You know, because sometimes it's like justification. You know, why should I spend all this time? Aside from obviously wielding the product better, got it.
Yeah.
But what's in it for the maybe engineer that's investing all this time and you know, obviously two different, you know, we always talk about different buckets of money, conferences and training, education, certification. So
Absolutely. So those that attended and registered for the Vegas Connect class actually have they should have their KCA course already available to them in K University. You have 90 days to take that test. So if it's something to where you want to attend these classes just to kind of make sure you're brushed up on the knowledge before taking it, definitely use it for that purpose. But these webinars here are all free. This is just meant for further educational training. So there's nothing tied to it as far as like a certification goes. But I will tell you that if you were to attend all three, we absolutely have we don't have live instructor-led courses just yet, like most of our models do have. But coming soon though for SaaS Alerts. But in the meantime, you can absolutely attend these, and then you can go in and purchase that self-paced certification, and then take the test to get certified. So that is an option. But all of these are just free information, trying to just help further the knowledge of the techs on the other end to make sure they have what they need, especially with the use of like things like IOCs and how to properly use those to enhance triage process and how to use those in respond and just to there's been a lot of changes in the product in the last year, so just making sure that everyone's up to date on what those changes are and how to best take advantage of them.
got it. Yeah. Chip's even mentioned that as he's gotten leading compliance and he comes back and looks at the UI, right, Chip? And you're like, all the changes that are there.
There's a lot.
Lots of good stuff.
And Tim, in closing, I heard that you get Leron's cell number if you do attend these, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, personal cell phone number is going to be provided. Absolutely. No rates apply on text messages, so just go ahead and spam away.
All
Who's
right.
Leiron's backup? Ben?
Wait, I have a backup?
He's got this. He's got this.
Ben, so do you want to chat a little bit about the course, like that you and Amanda did, or the session? Or there was the FAQ was like the really a hot thing. Did anything stand like like aha moments or people like really honing in on certain questions with you guys?
That was the funny thing about that Amanda and I were talking about on stage. I was like, man, we went through this like really, really fast. So we're gonna get people like 20 or 30 minutes back. But then it was 20 minutes of Q&A just asking about, Fortify, Secure Score. So I don't know, Amanda, was there anything that stood out for you as far as questions?
I think just the general theme from doing the webinars and then doing that session is making sure that people
Yeah.
understand the licensing implication and the secure score.
Yeah, I think we felt that we could probably just have done a 40-minute Q&A instead of any sort of PowerPoint. But no, it was a good little talk.
Did it, as like I guess with what Tim just talked about with the webinars, Ben and or Amanda, did it kind of inform you like, wow, maybe there's people really need better, to focus in on their Fortify training because there's a lot of questions, or they could be using it and getting more out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Fortify is very robust, and we've done a lot in the last 6 months, 8 months to release additional snapshot types. And so, for anybody that kind of just took a look at snapshots when we only supported conditional access policies, they really wouldn't understand the full breadth of what you can do in there right now. So, I think just us talking about Fortify so that people are reminded to go look at it and to see all the enhancements we've done to it and take advantage of it.
Okay. So I guess the May 21st one is the one if you're really interested, right, Tim, that if you really want to get a deep dive into Fortify, you want to come to that middle one, and put it on your calendar. Um, Perfect.
Absolutely. And just to also comment on the SIM partners are the ones that have the SIM and you have access to that Microsoft agent. You need to take advantage of that in Fortify. You're missing out if you're not. That agent is extremely powerful when it comes to Fortify and what it can do for you. So definitely take advantage.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. Bear with me, folks. As we go back. Oh, we don't want to do that. Yes, I know I'm showing everything on purpose. Okay, so we did Fortify. Enrique, are you still with us?
I am.
All right. First of all, did you buy a nice piece of property in Palm Desert there? It's very inexpensive, so I figured you might have, purchased something while you're, in at
I was
NerdioCon.
I was looking at a couple of acres, Andrew, but I thought the value wasn't there, too low price. We like a little bigger investments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, real reasonable there, Chip. If as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, right.
So this isn't something you sent us, Enrique. You want to kind of this was Chip gave it a unreal comment as we went back and forth, but this is kind of like I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but wow, it's modern day mob, isn't it? Really. But I would say the VIG isn't as big as I thought it would be, Chip. I mean, you got 80%, out of the 100. I mean, not bad. But interesting that this guy, and I'll put the URL in for everybody to find this. But Enrique, you want to give us the high level of what happened here?
Well, there was this gentleman that worked for, I guess, was it an insurance ransomware recovery group? And he was in cahoots with Black Cat ransomware attack. So basically, he would tell them the feedback like, "Hey, you can go after Enrique. He's got a policy for $10. Go ahead and get $10 from him." So he was facilitating data back and forth so they could maximize their return on investment on the ransomware attack. So, and that's a guy that caught. How many are there out there that are doing this? And hopefully one day they'll be caught, but it's just makes it even harder.
Yeah. And it probably goes by the way to Andy's question on data exfiltration. What people are looking for right away certainly is they're going to look for your insurance limits, right, Enrique? Because if they know how much you're covered in cyber, that is certainly something they're going to try to exploit very effectively.
And I guess it gives them their turnaround time a lot quicker because they know exactly what to go after. So they don't have to waste time going with higher numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So look to get at it at a quicker pace.
That's right. That's right. Chip,
That's a good
anything?
investment opportunity there.
Anything stand out in this one to you, Chip? Other than wow.
No, it's just, I mean, I'd seen this same thing in my, I guess I didn't even send it to you, Andrew, because I just kind of shook my head and like, oh, yeah, of course. You know, if there's a place to find your way between the cracks and make some money, people are going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Let's move on here to what do we got next? Oh, Chip, I wanted to show you Hasbro is finally
Oh,
functional.
they're back.
They're finally back. So, but I just wanted to, again, what I wanted to show first before I show the homepage is the comedy of this. Again, this is, over a month now. And again, let's just the this page will be updated. Well, I don't know about you, Chip, but I'm not seeing too much updates.
I would not expect you're ever going to see
Isn't
an update.
Hasbro a publicly traded company, and don't they have to make some reporting to the
They
SEC for this?
very so they did, and some of the and so you can see they did a really nice job, by the way, on the homepage. By the
Yeah,
way,
they took the time to build a whole new website.
yeah, literally. So, Andy, you are correct. However, on one of the SASE calls, and you may have missed this, and Chip, keep me honest. It was probably a month or 2 months ago now. I put up an article about SEC. Um, they have lowered the barrier, for lack of a better word, Andy. I'm not doing justice to the verbiage, but they've lowered the barrier of scrutiny that you have to provide is it the 10Q here, Chip, or I forget exactly what it is, the filing.
Yeah, I don't
But
remember the section, but yes.
so it used to be, let's just say, Andy, you had to, provide, a full, readout or XYZ, and and then since the post the um CISO of SolarWinds being convicted and all of those, kind of issues post that situation, there was kind of pushback and, you know, what is the, consensus? It's always about money, right? And Wall Street is going to win this battle versus transparency all the time. So
Fair enough.
that's the name of that game. But I thought we'd get a chuckle out of that, Chip, that at least the flash is up and no update on the.
So you can tell Enrique for that customer in Mexico City that was down for 2 days. At least they're not Hasbro.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, Hasbro was down for, I don't know, a month, Chip, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
So PwC put out an interesting, threat report, their annual one. Again, highlights what SaaS Alerts has been focusing on for years, and something that we've talked about, login versus break-in. But again, highlights, the TTPs, the tactics, techniques, and procedures that are being used around identity. And again, highlights this, and I can't stress it enough for us. And I don't want to be a doomsdayer or whatever, but I really am calling out. I hope we are all doing a better job or being cognizant of social engineering attempts around help desk. It is one of the fastest growing areas that threat actors are using. And when you look at also the data on professional services, we are right smack in the crosshairs, about number 2 of the threat actors' favorite targets still. So I can't express that enough. I think we are a soft target. I think we are ignoring that to a degree. with our clients and our policies in that area. There's the link to the PwC. One other thing here to point out in that is, they say it's accelerating, on both sides. And what I'm going to show you with an updated, most recent Microsoft phishing campaign that they reported. What I find, that I wouldn't, no surprise, right? They're crafting these highly convincing phishing campaigns. And I'm going to show you something that's like staggering at how good it looks coming up here momentarily. So keep that in mind. Of course, they say at the same time, defenders are gaining an advantage as well, but we know it's asymmetric. But I just, again, point that out.
Hey, Andrew, can you go back a slide before you move forward?
Yeah, sure.
Another one? The first PwC one?
Yeah, this is it.
Yes. So, fourth line from the bottom. This is the first time I've seen it in a report like this. Multi-stage phishing campaigns that target both human and machine identities. That machine identity is a big deal. I mean, it's funny. I just read an academic paper this morning about this and about how easily, if any of you guys are experimenting with building agents on your own, um, how easily engaged agents can be subject to memory corruption. So basically, slipping a new piece into your static agent memory that tells it something like, I don't know, send refunds to all customers every Friday, and the agent will just do it, thinking that it was an original part of its instruction. So it's a whole new burgeoning attack surface that people aren't even thinking about. And you couple that with um, shadow AI and people building applications inside of corporate environments or even MSP environments. Some of your customers and your users are going to start using tools, and let's just start thinking about guardrails on them. You don't know what's running inside and has access to your information. So what the future looks like here is back to your next slide with attackers increasingly using AI to do that. They're going to identify um, the machine operators that have their own identity and begin going to corrupt them directly because there's no human in the loop, or often no human in the loop, to prevent that. So, just start thinking about raising the gate substantially.
This also is a counter argument to SaaS as a um, diminishing marketplace. If you think about it, because all these AI agents, you're going to have to build in a security stack that the SaaS applications have already addressed in most cases.
Well, another point, Andy, on the same vein, right now there really are no tools to track inter-agent communication and which
Hmm.
agents within an organization or in between organizations, both intra and inter, are communicating with each other and what they're executing on. It's a whole different attack surface and attack layer. You can
Yep.
almost think of it like,
Old Microsoft, like Windows 95 or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. You can think of it like a gigantic Banyan Vines network that's opening up with, there's no
Hmm.
switching. It's all just one big loop and all the information sitting there, but nobody's listening to it yet.
So AI is going to need a stand down day to focus on security.
And there's people talking about it, but it's definitely
Yeah,
still at the
that was
researcher level.
Microsoft's strategy, by the way. I remember way back when.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I,
Yeah.
a sidebar article to this, I read, and it wasn't an article, it was an X post, but somebody out there actually built an AI agent to effectively impersonate a human enough to get its own social security number, bank account, and credit card.
Was
So
it
now,
registering to vote, though, is the real question.
article didn't say anything about that, but I found that, interesting. But if you think about it logically, like that's not even deep fake. Like there,
No.
that's just moving through a system of filling out forms and representing yourself as an entity, as a business entity, um, adding in all the information that you need, your name, address, telephone number, all the rest of it, and away you go. So now you have a fully credentialed um, corporate entity that was developed completely by an AI.
Chip, we're kind of having a conversation in chat about if anybody is using some sort of verification system so that when customers call or somebody is trying to pretend that they are your help desk, if there's any sort of verification like OTP or passphrase, something as simple as a passphrase. Didn't know. Then Enrique said he uses something in place,
So
but we're kind of talking about how that.
we use MSP process bend, and so we do push to Microsoft Authenticator for the end user validation. And then within there's a technician mode where they actually query the technician when they call via the same system to make sure it is the technician calling them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I'd be interested to know if anybody else is using that. I know that there's on the non-technical side, there was I know that when we were raising our daughter, that a lot of the ways people will trick it, kidnap is like, oh, hey, your mom's in trouble. We need to you need to come with me. There's an emergency that we established. Individual parents established a password that would always be given, so it's know it's like verify it's actually coming from somebody. So. That's kind of what we did, and didn't know if like you guys are doing something similar with your customers.
yeah, there's a
Did you
few.
ever have to use a password, Ben?
Nope.
Good for you for being ready, Ben. One area I just wanted to in this report point out as opportunities, and I know I was talking to one MSP specifically in California, fairly large, focuses on one of their big areas is municipality and water, Chip. And now think about this. This PwC plays up market, as we all know. So again, if half of leaders are saying they can't, I mean, to laugh at this, but half of enterprises, mid-market, upper mid-market enterprise are saying like we don't have the staff to protect our OT and industrial IoT. If they're saying that, there is a huge opportunity. And like I said, I can tell you firsthand, speaking with an MSP, I know there is a huge opportunity in this area that I think is, I highly encourage you guys to look at. Chip, I went out on a limb on main stage at Write a Boom, and I said, I think the next 5 years and plus, we are in the nuclear renaissance. There's going to be small nuclear water-based reactors coming online. And, there's a whole host of companies like Allo Atomics and others that are going to have, like, we just don't have the energy to power the amount of data centers and AI compute out there. We know there's a major energy crisis coming. And these are areas that you as an MSP should be, in my opinion, focusing on, and they will more than likely, which we're already seeing in certain areas, you're more than likely going to see CMMC be the standard for critical infrastructure. So just some things to keep in mind.
So, Andrew, I don't know if I read this morning. I don't know how fresh the news is. But NVIDIA cut a deal with a nationwide home builder called Pulte Homes
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to be slapping. Um, I think it was 16 NVIDIA chips in basically a Powerwall housing on the side of your house. And when, consuming all the spare electric availability that would otherwise be flowing to a 200, amp service in a house, which is most of the time not using all of that. And NVIDIA will be effectively, NVIDIA and Pulte will be revenue sharing on this and paying the homeowner for the real estate space. Basically, taking the idea of instead of building hyperscaler megaform data centers, taking that form factor and spreading it out in neighborhoods all across the country.
Interesting.
Talk about like an IoT potential nightmare and also an MSP potential boon.
Yeah.
Like who's going to be involved in servicing all those units? And they're not going to sit there without our requirements for some kind of attention.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole host of privacy things and others that that's a whole bailiwick behind that. Like, do I even want it? It's my property, it's my domain,
Yeah, whose
interesting.
internet are you using?
Yeah, interesting times ahead there for sure, Chip. But you can see the hyperscalers and, obviously the infrastructure to them, like NVIDIA and others, are going to be looking for clever ways. And I can assure you nuclear is the first and foremost option that's going to get built out to support that. I want to, if we have a few minutes, Chip, just briefly talk about this. I'm going to bring it up here. I'll put it in this. Just came out phishing expo, threat report, if you will, from Microsoft. I just put it in. Let me jump to my stuff here. And did someone have something? So what's interesting about this, Chip, aside from this multi-stage, again, it's not that we haven't seen it before. I don't want to say that, right? We've seen tons of CAPTCHA, we've seen tons of adversarial in the middle. Yes, we've seen all those things. What I do want to show you is the targeted nature of this and how well, quote unquote, just how well this is done. And again, using AI. So the posture here is like this is an internal conduct review, first off, Chip. So, and then, the quality in which they go through of the documentation is just, I mean, tell me that does not look like Microsoft through and through. I mean, it's absolutely flawless. And they did this to, I forget how many different organizations, but they're using this one as the example. As an attachment. They have supporting references as well. And then the to validate, it's not just one CAPTCHA and a validation, but they actually put you through multiple ones to prove, like, kind of lure you into how valid this is. And ultimately, bringing you to the Microsoft, quote unquote, login page. The one last thing I just wanted to point out here, which is pointing to the same article, is how they're changing infrastructure out of Cloudflare. Because obviously security companies are, security departments are getting clever or I shouldn't say clever, using IOCs and focusing on that. And how they are moving to, where did I have it right here, Chip? Bear with me. And we've talked a little bit about this before. Bear with me. And it's our favorites, Tycoon 2FA, who's behind this. The movement to Amazon Simple Email Service because of its just literally its ability to just bypass all security controls in email. And so we're seeing, again, in all our craze, I guess I'll throw it over to you, Chip, in all our craze of mythos and all these other things, which are valid and warranted, the focus still is very much on identity, human, and enhanced phishing campaigns. So.
Yeah, well, it's still humans that are the most susceptible to it. I mean, mythos sitting in the can still, and the presumption that the Chinese frontier models are have something, if not as good, close to as good as mythos. But the cyber war between the automated actors is going to balance out, right? The attackers are going to be using AI, the defenders are going to be using AI. The people are never going to be using AI between their ears, and they always remain the most susceptible. And the faster you can create a credible campaign. And the only question I had about that arc I just went through, like, was that targeted at Microsoft employees first?
There, it was the campaign chip they stated was, bear with me, a total of 100 and bear with me, 35,000, 13,000 organizations, 26 countries, 92% of them in the
In
US.
the US,
Microsoft
yeah, I
being
saw
one
that.
of them. So Microsoft will they just use that one as the
As the example. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, look, you can see a lot of people falling for that. Like, if you're in the workplace, especially if you've done something a little dodgy that you think you got away with, and you get that particular email, uh, boy, I can see a lot of people falling for that one.
Yeah, and in the last 30 or 60 seconds here, Chip, I do want to say, you said AI isn't going to be between our brain. I don't know about that. There's a big announcement today by Warby Parker and Google, the new Warby Parker Google AI glasses. So maybe it won't be as far-fetched as we think. I'm getting you a pair, sending them to you. Um,
Yeah. Just what I need, more radiation coming in through my skull. I spend 6 hours a day with earbuds in, and you know, I wonder when the brain cancer's coming.
yeah. All right, everybody. Great seeing you all. Have a fantastic week. Enrique, be safe on the way back. And wishing you all a fantastic week. Take care.
Stay safe, guys.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
Yeah.